Yeah, I am the tax man. And this is they're kind of saying that. I probably shouldn't do that. I'm not a very good singer.
I think you're
allegedly
shortchanging yourself.
I don't think that's true.
Let's not forget the time you went on tour as a backup singer for Taylor Swift.
I would love that. Tay-Tay and me. Anyway, or I'm not going to talk about the radio guy who got sued by her. But anyway, I wanted to talk today about CSED.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where Attorney Stephen Leahy
gives
us his infinite wisdom on all things tax-related.
See what happens when I talk about Taylor Swift. I get off my regular.
God.
Even though she's becoming a lefty, I still like her. Anyway, because I don't judge people based on their politics. I like people who think differently than I do. They might not like me though. But anyway, let's talk about CSED, because I get this question a lot, right? So I got a call just this last week, and someone said the IRS is trying to collect on 2003 and 2004 taxes, and the guy says to me, "Well, isn't there some date where it's only supposed to be 10 years that they can't come after you anymore?" And isn't that right? And the answer is, there is what they call a CSED, and the CSED stands for the letters. It's an acronym. Stands for Collection Statute Expiration Date.
Okay, so Collection Statute Expiration Date.
So that means that the IRS, that this date expires when they can collect on a tax. So once it gets but it's the date of assessment. So once the IRS assesses a tax against you, they have 10 years to collect it or sue you. So they can take you to court and sue you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they have, and I have clients who have been sued by the IRS. They get a judgment against you, and then they can collect forever. The judgment doesn't expire, and they can come after you forever and collect that money. But generally, they won't do that unless you're involved in some sort of fraud or something like that. But generally, there's a 10-year statute that they can collect from this. And so in this situation I'm talking about, where someone says, "Well, wait a minute, this tax that they're trying to collect is from 2002 or 2001 or 2000. How can that be? That's way more than 10 years ago.
Come on.
So how can they do that? And the answer is because, again, it's the date of assessment, not 10 years from the date of the taxes. So generally your taxes are going to come due right a year after the tax that they're collecting. So 2017 taxes were just filed, and we're coming up. Tomorrow is October 15th, and that's the date for the extensions, which is so. If I did ask for an extension for my 2017 taxes, and it's going to be due on October 15th, it'd be 10 years from that date that it's actually when I filed assessment. But if I don't file my taxes, well, then it hasn't been assessed and it hasn't even begun yet. Okay, so they haven't even begun that 10-year statute of the collection statute expiration date. So a lot of times what happens is people they haven't filed in 2003, 2004, and then in 2006 they file a bunch of old returns. Well, now they haven't been assessed until 2006 or 2007, and so that's when the statute begins. And another thing that happens is and then I'll ask them, did you file bankruptcy? Well, yeah, I filed bankruptcy. I was in a Chapter 13. Well, that adds however long you're in bankruptcy plus 6 months. So if I'm in a Chapter 13 and it's a 3-year plan, it would be 3 years plus 6 months. So now I would add 10 years plus the 3 years plus 6 months. So now it's 13 and a half years. So now it's 13 and a half years. Okay. And then maybe I get out and I try to do an offer and compromise. And this is why offers and compromise can be very dangerous, and the people shouldn't do this themselves. when you go and ask for an offer in compromise, that also adds time to the CSED. Okay,
Boom.
so now it's 10 years. Then I ask for an offer that might take them a year to determine, to figure it out. Now I just added a year. So now and then maybe I filed bankruptcy. So I've had people that they have what they call tolling dates, and this is at the time that it adds to the CSED. And I've had people with 2,000, 3,000 tolling dates. That's like 3 years, 4 years, 10 years that they've told this thing, and they just keep adding time, and the IRS it never goes away. The IRS just keeps coming after you. And sometimes when people don't understand how this all works,
what can the IRS really do?
and then the IRS, what can they? Oh, Jim, I understand. It's a kind of a silly question because the IRS can do bad things to you, right? They can take things away from you.
You wrote a book on the 6 things you can do to get out of IRS.
That's correct.
And the last thing you can do is do nothing, and there's a lot of people that generally do nothing.
And that's what they do before they come to see me. And then the IRS starts levying them and taking all their money, and then it's hard to hire me when you don't have any money.
Well, anyway, we'll go on that forever.
And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we do a live video of this show that you're hearing this Sunday evening on YouTube at around on Friday afternoons. So if you have a question, go on there, or you can call Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jim Leahy with That Properties. Let's start thinking about tomorrow. Today, 847-271-3695. 2019's coming. It's not too early to start thinking about putting your home on the market or finding a place. Stay tuned and come back on AM 560. The Answer.